Let's be honest, most women don't fall in love with men. They fall in love with potential. It's not about who he is right now, it's about who he might become. And that's the first red flag no one ever talks about. Because when you fall for potential, you're not dating a man. You're dating a fantasy you built in your head. You meet a guy. He's rough around the edges, a little lost, maybe unmotivated, maybe emotionally unavailable. But something about him draws you in. You start to think, if he just changed a few things, he'd be perfect. And right there, that's where it begins. You don't want him. You want the version of him that only exists in your imagination. It's not love, it's a project, and guess what? He never signed up to be your renovation. This is the trap so many people fall into. They confuse chemistry with potential and hope with compatibility. You start convincing yourself he just needs time, or love, or understanding, as if your effort can rewrite his character. You tell yourself he's just going through a phase, or worse, I can fix him. But what you're really doing is trying to control the outcome of someone else's growth. You become emotionally invested in a story you're writing alone, and it's not that he's innocent either. Some men know when a woman sees potential in them. They lean into it. They play the role, drop the right lines, act like they're trying, all while knowing she's falling in love with a maybe, not a man. They don't have to change because she's doing all the emotional work for them. It's the oldest trick in the book. Give her just enough progress to keep her believing, but never enough to make it real. But here's the brutal truth. The illusion of potential doesn't say as much about him as it does about her. When you're obsessed with who someone could become, it's usually because you're avoiding the reality of where you are. You crave purpose. You crave meaning. You crave being the one who saves someone, because it makes you feel needed, powerful, special. It's ego disguised as empathy. It's control disguised as care. And when the fantasy finally collapses, when he doesn't become the version you built in your head, you don't just lose him. You lose the illusion you built your self-worth around. The illusion of potential is the most dangerous love story, because it always ends the same way: disappointment. So if you're watching this and thinking, yeah, I've been there, ask yourself, did you ever actually love him? Or did you love the idea of him so much that you forgot to see who he really was? Because the truth is, love built on potential isn't love. It's delusion wrapped in hope, and hope, when it blinds you, is just another form of heartbreak waiting to happen. Let's be real. A lot of women don't just want love. They want a redemption arc. They don't want a man. They want a mission. And it always starts the same way. He's broken, but I can fix him. He just needs love. He's never had someone believe in him. Sound familiar? That's not love. That's delusion, dressed as devotion. Somewhere along the way, you stopped looking for a partner and started looking for a project. You saw his pain and thought it was your purpose. You saw his chaos and thought it was your calling. You mistook emotional instability for depth. You thought his trauma made him real, when really, it just made him unavailable. And now you're stuck in this endless cycle of trying to prove your worth by saving someone who doesn't even want to be saved. Here's the truth no one wants to hear. You can't fix a man who benefits from staying broken. Some men like being damaged, because it gets them attention, forgiveness, and excuses. They know the more you try to fix them, the deeper you'll get trapped. They'll open up just enough to make you think progress is happening, but not enough to actually change. And you'll tell yourself it's working. You'll say, he's getting better, when deep down, you know, you're just getting better at ignoring the truth. You're not healing him. You're just enabling him. But why do so many women fall into this trap? Because being the savior gives them a sense of control. It makes them feel needed. It feeds the fantasy that their love is powerful enough to transform someone. But that's not power. That's ego. And it's the kind of ego that burns you alive slowly while convincing you you're glowing. Because when you define your worth by how much pain you can endure for someone else, you've stopped being a lover and started being a martyr. And here's the cruel twist. The savior complex doesn't end with gratitude. It ends with resentment, because the man you tried to fix will either stay broken and drain you dry, or he'll finally heal and leave. Why? Because he never saw you as his equal. He saw you as the therapist, the safety net, the emotional crutch. You built him back up, and once he was standing tall again, he walked away to find someone who didn't remind him of his weakness. You gave him healing, and he gave you heartbreak. So next time you catch yourself saying, "He just needs love," stop. He doesn't need love. He needs accountability. And that's something you can't give to someone who doesn't want it. Love isn't supposed to be a rescue mission. It's supposed to be a partnership, because when your love turns into labor, you're not saving him. You're just slowly losing yourself. Let's call it what it is. Not every loving woman wants to help you grow. Some want to reshape you, and they'll never say it out loud. They'll smile sweetly, touch your hand, and say things like, "I just want you to reach your potential." But what they really mean is, "I want you to become the version of you that I can control." It doesn't start with insults or nagging. It starts with suggestions. Maybe try dressing differently. Don't hang out with him. He's a bad influence. Why do you talk to her so much? At first, it sounds like care. But slowly, piece by piece, she starts to chip away at who you were before her. It's not always about power. Sometimes it's about fear. Because deep down, she doesn't love you. She loves the idea of you, the potential she saw in her head, and every time you act outside that fantasy, she feels betrayed. So she tries to correct you, to mold you, to make you fit the script she's already written. But here's the cold truth. The moment someone wants to change you more than understand you, they don't love you, they love control. This type of manipulation is subtle. That's what makes it dangerous. She doesn't yell or demand, she guides. She suggests, she makes you feel guilty for not agreeing. She'll say, "I just want what's best for you," when what she really wants is what's best for her image of you. She'll convince you to give up things you love, your hobbies, your friends, your freedom, all in the name of improvement. And you'll go along with it because you think that's what love requires, compromise. But it's not compromise when only one person's changing. That's conditioning. You start walking on eggshells. You second-guess your jokes, your tone, even your thoughts. You start asking for permission, not because you have to, but because you're scared of disappointing her. That's not love, that's emotional training. And the scariest part? She might not even realize she's doing it. Control can disguise itself as care, especially when it's wrapped in affection. "I just want to help you become your best self." But notice, it's never your definition of best, it's hers. By the time you notice, it's too late. You're not the same person anymore. You've been polished, improved, refined. Until you're unrecognizable. She'll call it growth, you'll call it love. But what it really was ownership. Here's the truth. The person who truly loves you doesn't want to sculpt you. They want to see you. Flaws, scars, imperfections, and all. Because if someone can only love the version of you they built in their head, they were never in love with you. They were in love with their own power to change you. It always starts the same way. She tells you, "I love you just the way you are." And you believe her. You finally feel safe, accepted, like you don't have to perform anymore. But then, slowly, that acceptance starts to come with conditions. Little ones at first. She says, "I just wish you were more ambitious." Or, "You'd look so good if you worked out a little more." Or, "I miss how affectionate you used to be." See, that's how it begins. Not with rejection, with redirection. She's not asking for change. She's testing how far she can push you before you start to break. This is the silent ultimatum. Change, or lose her approval. It's never said outright. There's no shouting, no fighting, just a quiet shift, where every time you don't meet her expectations, she withdraws a little. Less warmth, less validation, less love. Until you realize something terrifying, her love has become conditional. You're not being loved for who you are anymore. You're being loved for how well you perform. It's emotional blackmail disguised as affection. You start doing things you don't want to do, not because you believe in them, but because you're scared of losing her approval. You change your tone, your habits, your opinions. And every time you compromise, she rewards you. A little affection here, a thank you there. Enough to keep you hooked, but never enough to make you feel whole. It's a reward and withdrawal system, and the worst part is, she'll convince you that it's your fault. That if you just tried harder, she wouldn't be so distant. That if you really loved her, you'd do what she asks. But love isn't a checklist, and the moment it becomes one, you're no longer in a relationship, you're in a performance. This is the trap so many men fall into. You keep trying to be the man she says she wants, not realizing that every time you change, the goalpost moves. Because the truth is, it's not about improvement. It's about control. She doesn't want better you, she wants her version of you, and that version is always just out of reach. Eventually you'll wake up and realize something painful. You've built your personality around her moods. You've lost your voice trying to keep her happy. You've become a character in her story, not a man in his own, and here's the kicker. Once she's done shaping you, she'll lose interest, because the version she built isn't real. It's lifeless, predictable, safe, exactly what she thought she wanted, until she realizes there's nothing left to chase. That's the cruel irony of the silent ultimatum. You change everything about yourself to be loved, and in the end, you lose both, her and yourself. Here's a brutal truth. Some women don't want a partner, they want a project. They don't fall in love with you, they fall in love with the idea of fixing you. Because deep down, being your savior makes them feel powerful. It gives them purpose, importance, control. They'll say, I just want to help you be better. But what they really mean is, I want you to become the man that proves I'm special enough to change you. It's not love, it's ego disguised as compassion. The savior complex starts like devotion. She listens to your problems, she comforts you when you're down. She tells you, you just need someone who understands you, and for a moment, you believe she's that person. But slowly, that empathy turns into ownership. She stops being your support and starts being your superior. Suddenly, she's the one who knows what's best for you. Your decisions get second-guessed, your independence gets chipped away, all in the name of helping. She's not fixing you, she's fixing her reflection through you. Here's how it works. The moment she positions herself as your rescuer, you become dependent on her approval. She becomes the emotional gatekeeper of your self-worth. You start asking for validation before every choice. Not because you need guidance, but because you've been trained to seek her permission. That's not a relationship, that's emotional captivity. And here's the toxic twist. The moment you actually improve, she feels threatened. When you stop needing her, when you start standing on your own, she'll subtly sabotage it. Why? Because if you outgrow her help, she loses her power. You'll hear things like, you've changed since we met. You don't listen to me anymore. You're so cold now. But what she's really saying is, you're no longer under my control. Her care was never about healing you, it was about owning you. The savior complex is the most seductive kind of manipulation because it wears the mask of love. She's not the villain, she's the good one, the understanding one, the one who was always there. But look closer. Behind every act of care is a subtle power exchange. She doesn't want you to heal, she wants you to need her, because once you stop needing her, she's no longer special. And that's the real tragedy. You thought she saw your potential. But what she really saw was an opportunity to feel superior. You weren't her partner. You were her proof. Proof that she could fix someone. Proof that she mattered. Proof that she had control. So the next time someone says, I can help you become the man you're meant to be, ask yourself, do they want to help you grow? Or do they just want to build you into someone they can own? There's a moment in every toxic relationship where you realize you're not being loved anymore. You're being evaluated. Her affection used to be effortless, warm, real. Now it feels like a test you can't pass. Every word, every action, every flaw is under quiet judgment. And the love that once felt unconditional now comes with a price tag. That's the breaking point, when I love you turns into I love you if. At first, it's subtle. She starts pulling back. The texts get shorter, the smiles fade, the warmth disappears. You ask what's wrong and she says, nothing. I'm just tired, but she's not tired. She's calculating. She's measuring how much she can withdraw before you start to chase her again. Because in her mind, love is leverage. She doesn't communicate to connect. She communicates to control. That's the toxic beauty of conditional love. It doesn't punish you directly, it makes you punish yourself. You start overthinking everything. Did I say something wrong? Am I not doing enough? Maybe if I just make her happy again, things will go back to normal. You don't even realize it, but you're bargaining for affection. You're offering your peace, your pride, your identity, just for a scrap of validation. And she knows it. She feeds on it. Conditional love is the ultimate manipulation because it disguises itself as standards. She'll tell you, I just need more effort. I just want you to communicate better. I just wish you'd understand me. But notice, her needs always grow. They're never satisfied. Because it's not about what she wants from you, it's about how far you'll go to earn her approval. It's not love, it's training. And once you're conditioned, she owns you emotionally. Every time you please her, you get a reward. Every time you disappoint her, she disappears. It's psychological warfare disguised as romance. She becomes the judge, jury, and executioner of your worth. And no matter what you do, it's never enough. Because the rules keep changing. The standard keeps rising, and your self-respect keeps shrinking. Eventually you break. Not all at once, quietly, piece by piece. Until the man who once had confidence, humor, and freedom turns into someone who lives for her approval. And when she finally walks away, she'll say, I just don't feel the same anymore. But she's not leaving you. She's leaving the version of you she built, the one she controlled. That's the cruelest truth about conditional love. It doesn't die when it's over. It stays with you, in your doubts, your fears, your hesitation to ever open up again. Because once you've been trained to earn love, you forget what it feels like to be loved freely.